Thank you, Travis. Good evening, viewers, and welcome to tonight's regional news. We commence in Grenada. The World Bank Board of Executive Directors on Thursday approved $25 million to the Grenada COVID-19 crisis response and fiscal management development policy credit. This quick disbursing financing will support the country's effort to respond to the COVID-19 crisis in the short term and enhance long-term sustainability and resilience. Although the number of COVID-19 cases has been relatively low, the economic contraction has been severe. This World Bank financing is expected to help the government to strengthen the country's health systems and protect livelihoods through financial assistance to the tourism sector, the agricultural sector, and small businesses. The financing, which is from the International Development Association (IDA), is interest-free with a maturity of 40 years, including a grace period of 10 years. Continuing in Barbados, the Economic Commission for Latin America and the Caribbean (ECLAC) is predicting that Barbados could end the year grappling with an unemployment rate of 40%. I quote, "Recovery has been slow and unemployment rates are unlikely to recover to pre-COVID-19 rates by the close of 2020 into early 2021, end of quote, said the United Nations body, while also forecasting the Barbados economy to contract by 16% this year before growing by 6% in 2021. Government has not given an official unemployment rate after thousands of Barbadians, mainly tourism industry workers, lost their jobs during the COVID-19 pandemic. The central bank has also not quantified what percentage of the national workforce is considered jobless. In its most recent economic review for the 3 quarters, January to September, the bank said the average rate of unemployment was, I quote, "not available," end of quote. We now turn our attention to Jamaica. Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett has announced that Jamaica earned more than $450 million between June 15, when the country reopened its borders to international travelers, and December 14. Over the 6-month period, nearly 318,000 visitors and passengers arrived in the island. I quote, "The tourism industry is still hurting, yet we're seeing positive signs of buoyancy as we rebuild our tourism economy despite the coronavirus," end of quote, Bartlett stated. Looking forward, the minister said, I quote, "We're optimistic that we will see a 40% increase in arrivals over the winter season when compared to the preceding period of the massive downturn." He said the good news about nearly 318,000 passenger arrivals is that it represents perhaps another 10 to 15% of tourism workers returning to their job. Bartlett said he was also excited about the return on the weekend of a British Airways flight to Montego Bay for the first time in 11 years, which he cited as a sign of confidence in the Jamaican hotel sector. And finally, on the international scene, a U.S. panel of experts on Thursday voted to recommend emergency approval of Moderna's COVID-19 vaccine, paving the way for 6 million doses to start shipping as soon as this weekend. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration (FDA) is now expected to imminently grant an emergency use authorization (EUA), which would make Moderna's vaccine the second to be approved in a Western country. The panel voted 20 in favor and none against, with 1 abstention. The meeting came as the number of deaths from the coronavirus quickly approaches 310,000 in the worst-hit country in the world, which this week began vaccinating healthcare workers and long-term care residents with the Pfizer vaccine. Though the level of protection against COVID-19 for both is about 95%, far greater than experts had thought was possible, there have now been a handful of people around the world who developed significant allergic reactions after receiving the Pfizer vaccine. The US, which has recorded more than 17 million cases of the virus, will probably become the first country to approve the Moderna vaccine. And that is all for your regional news. Thank you for joining. Back to you, Travis.